Hey, what's going on guys? Wannabico here and welcome to episode 12 of Scrimming Essentials, a weekly series where I'll be breaking down the basics of how to scrim in Fortnite. In this video, I'll be explaining how trios work, how to effectively communicate with your teammates, and how to pick your roles in trios. Trios Introduction. Trios is a team-based game mode that focuses on the importance of team coordination. Comparatively, solos is widely dependent on your sole individual skill and decision making, as duos is reliant on your team's playstyle and teamwork, while trios covers a wider and broader range of skills. In trios, your team has one extra teammate, meaning that revives can happen more frequently and your playstyle is more dependent on your teammates. This means that your performance is ultimately determined by your team rather than your own individual skill. This leads us to our next topic, communication and teamwork. Communication and teamwork is the most important factor in any team-based activity. Whether it be a real-life group project, a sport, or Fortnite, communication is the main factor to your team's overall performance. To help explain the different types of callouts there are in the game, let's take a look at an analogy using a traffic stoplight. Green callouts represent the simplest callouts you can make without having to think. For example, if you laser someone, make sure you give that callout to your teammates so they can follow up. Another green callout would be something like, "There's minis over here," or "There's a pump shotgun on me." Simple callouts like this can help give your teammates a lot of information quickly. The next callout I want to talk about is the yellow callout. This is the callouts that you want to be using the most in your game. These can be callouts such as, "There's players nearby, we need to be careful," or "Let's rotate over this hill quickly so we don't have to fight and get held in storm." Last but not least, red callouts should be the most important yet the most sacred callouts for your team. They should not be overused. If your teammate makes a red callout, make sure you give immediate attention to it and listen to them. The reason for this is because red callouts should only be used if your team is in immediate danger, such as, "There's a team dropping on top of us," or "There's another team contesting high ground, we need to get out of here." Red callouts like these need to be taken seriously, otherwise your team will pay the price. All in all, to keep your communications as clean as possible, let's discuss when and where you should use each callout. Green callouts are great for when your team is looking for picks or an opening to engage on. Yellow calls are great for rotations and reconnaissance, while red calls are important to use when you or your teammates are in danger of dying. To further explain this concept, let's take a look at MMB's communication in-game and how they utilize this communication strategy effectively.
Laser. It's only
hey, what? A laser one! What? 120! Devil skin! Oh my god, I just shit on someone! Oh my god! Yes! Let's go!
One of the greatest trios of all time, MMB dominated the scoreboard in last year's FCS trios. A huge contributor to their immense success is their communication. Let's take a look at this scene from MMB's FCS semifinals.
I think it activates. Headshot, he's white! 24 white! Yeah, he's white in there.
He's 1 HP, nearly one.
Knocked!
Nice.
Get out, get a finish. Get the finish, just get the finish. Can we not get a finish?
I don't have an angle.
It's somewhere there.
It's right next to the right of that base. To the right of the base, teacher. Drop down.
Oh, this is free kills.
Cracked his shield there.
30 white. In this, 30 white. He's getting WP.
Yeah, stay on the third party. We don't fully commit though.
Yeah, just get. Can you get the finish, Mitro?
I'm dying. I don't see him. Wait, he got the rest.
Wait. Oh, nice.
Mongrel and Mitro laser a guy in some builds far away. They want to secure the kill. Benji knows the situation is dangerous for the team to outright W-key, so he warns them not to push just yet. They listen to this call and then Mongrel utilizes his minigun to secure the kill from a safe distance. This play is a really good example for listening to callouts. Here's another great example of communication.
Get killed.
I have 200 mats, we're chilling.
Drop.
Go down.
3 kills.
Not all the way yet. Not all the way.
Yeah, don't go all the way.
That kid has no mats or something. Dead. I'm getting his mats. Oh no, I can't.
Chilling. Go, I'm all the way on height.
50. Shockwave. I'll shoot you now. I've seen a mat. I've seen a mat.
Coming. Let's go. I had 9 kills. I had 9.
Benji gives the callout to look for kills because they need points. Instinctively, he follows up telling his team to drop down from height in order to look for kills on low ground. Mongrel immediately follows up with a red callout saying, "Don't drop all the way down." The team immediately listens and they're able to secure the kills and the win. Following up on teammates' communication and clarifying callouts for the team if needed can help save your team from making bad decisions. Roles. With one extra player on your team, the assignment of roles can play a crucial part to your team's ability and overall performance. In addition to roles, the loadouts you take should also synergize with the role you are playing, as it will affect your team. There are several roles within trios that can be interchangeably swapped depending on your team's situation and needs. For this video, I'll only be talking about 4 main roles, however there are many more. The first role I'll be talking about is the frontliner. This player is normally the most aggressive and the most mechanically skilled of your team. They will be the ones leading fights and must rely on his teammates for support when they get low. They should be carrying the team's best close range engage weapons, as well as minis for fast healing. The frontliner should also be making the most red and green callouts to keep his team informed while he's engaging. The next role is the support player. A support player provides healing, utility, and vision to the team. In Fortnite, a support player should be carrying the most healing items and should be making the most yellow callouts to keep the team informed about their surroundings. Ideally, a support player should aim to have some form of white healing, as well as shields for the team. A bandage bazooka and 3 big shields fits this role perfectly. The next role is the marksman. Typically more of a backliner, this player will have more long-range oriented inventory items. An AR, pump shotgun, and a sniper or an RPG will fit this role perfectly. This player should be peeling for their frontliner after they engage into a fight while dealing as much long-range damage while rotating or based up as possible. The last and most important role of the team is the strategist or in-game leader, IGL for short. This player will typically have multiple roles under their belt at one time and thus have the most responsibility in the team. For example, if the frontliner of your team is the IGL, they'll have the responsibility to plan your rotations as well as be the engager in fights. If your frontliner IGL gets knocked, however, it will put a tremendous amount of stress on your team as they'll no longer have an IGL to lead them or a frontliner to engage on. This means that the team's overall performance will be decided by the IGL's decisions. One wrong decision and the whole team crumbles. It is ultimately the IGL's responsibility to take care of his teammates and ensure the best decision making for the team as a whole. A bad IGL will not take his teammates' strengths and weaknesses into consideration and simply play for themselves. This selfish behavior can lead your team to their ultimate demise and is a big red flag to find a new IGL. A good IGL will play around his team's strengths and weaknesses and make the impossible seem possible. For simplicity's sake, these are the main roles that I've characterized for this video. However, there are many other roles out there. For example, the tunneler is a role that I did not mention, however it can be assigned to a teammate or volunteered based on the immediate needs of the team or their given current situation. The same can be determined by other roles I didn't cover in this video. With that being said, let's take a look at MMB's team composition and how their roles affect their performances.
Yeah, I've got 3 stinks. You can hit it with a little W key.
I can hit something we can spray maybe.
I'm gonna stink. Perfect stink. Kill him, Nice! Oh! Nice, I need pop shield, I'm taking him so hard with my stink! No! Nice! Fly!
It's a new team!
White! He's white! White guy, nice! Let's go!
In this clip, Benji Fishy is playing the support role with his stink grenades as utility, while Mongrel is the team's frontliner and Mitro the team's marksman. Benji initiates the fight with his stinks, while Mongrel follows up with a snipe and impulses into the enemy team. While Mongrel fights off the weakened players, Benji heals while Mitro applies additional range pressure with his AR. The enemy team tries to escape, but MMB knocks them out of the air together. Their roles interchangeably swap depending on their given situation and their loot. This strategy isn't exactly orthodox, however, their methodology works because of their high level of skill and experience together. While switching roles may work for MMB, try sticking to what works for your team and what roles you find most success with. In order to decide which role fits you the best, first consider what you're good at and what you can improve on. Do you have really great game sense and decision making? Try to be the IGL. Do you like having the most heals and utility on your team? Try to be the support player. Do you hit crazy montage-worthy snipes? Try to be the team's marksman. If you don't like the role after trying it for a few games, you can always switch back to another role. I'd advise you to try out a few roles with your team over several arena games to see how you guys do. If your team performs more poorly than you expected, try to identify what went wrong and how you can fix it. Remember, roles are only suggestions for your playstyle. If you don't like a set role or your team has really great chemistry already, you don't necessarily need to have a permanent role. Your role can change with the needs of the team and your given situation, similar to MMB. This concludes episode 12 of Scrimming Essentials. Please join me next Monday when I'll be continuing my live coaching session to help you personally improve. I'll leave a sign-up link in the description if you would like to be coached. Huge thank you to Tony Elizovic, David Viadex, Imagine, Toasted, TTV Redog09, Grey Wolf, and everyone else who's using code 1UpEco in the item shop. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching and have a great time skimming.